All right, welcome back to Last Call. If you are jumping in right now, thank you so much for watching. As usual, I'll give it a couple of minutes, wait for some people to jump on, see how we do here. But yeah, hope everyone's having a solid week so far. It's my weekend, it's my Monday, well, it's my Sunday if you're on a traditional work schedule. But yeah, it's been a productive weekend. Just got some errands done, had some stuff to do, got laundry done, ran some errands, As usual, this is last call. This is somewhat bartender related, so I will have a drink while we are on the stream. So, nothing fancy. I think I'm just going to do a whiskey sour, but with peach flavored whiskey this time. This one's really good. I actually learned about this company because they have a salted caramel flavored whiskey, so that's how I kind of first learned about them. But yeah, just nothing fancy, whiskey sour. I just kind of realized that I had everything to make a Moscow Mule if I wanted to, but here, I'll make this one a little bit stronger. Good amount of alcohol. Don't say that I don't drink when I'm here with you guys. Yeah, like I said, just a very simple drink. Nothing crazy today. This was kind of a last minute stream. Yeah, I'll save enough just in case I want one more. Um, yeah, this was really a last minute stream. If I'm being honest, I wasn't gonna do one today, but I just ended up wanting to do one after all. I just found out some good news, so kind of wanted to do something. I felt I was in a good mood. So this is a peach whiskey sour, very simple. It would just get garnished with a cherry. There is citrus flavor, so I guess technically you are supposed to shake it up. Everywhere I've worked at, the casino, the nightclub, it's just a build drink, which means you put the whiskey in there, you put the sweet and sour mix in there, that's it. But properly, it's actually supposed to have an egg white and it's actually supposed to be shaken. Anything with citrus is supposed to be shaken. But yeah, most of the places you go, like a nightclub, a casino, a busy bar, they're not going to really do that. But yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks for watching if you are. That's pretty smooth with peach whiskey, actually. Normally, it calls for just regular flavored whiskey. Um, Occasionally, you'll get someone ask for it with Jameson, but yeah, for the most part, it just calls for straight whiskey. But I gotta say, it's really smooth with peach whiskey. Yeah, I actually really like it smooth. That's the cool thing about having your own little bar. I don't have nothing fancy, but I have my little bar behind me right here. There we go. Sorry, it's always backwards on the camera. That's my little bar right there. Um, I have my essentials I need. So if I wanted to go mix a drink, I just have to get ice from the kitchen. But other than that, I can mix pretty much drinks and stuff like that. So, um, yeah. But yeah, again, this is just a last minute kind of idea. Again, it wasn't planned or anything. Um, so what I'll do in today's video, just to kind of keep it interesting, is I got my experience in bartending in Las Vegas, right? Sin City. I got my experience there. So I basically started off as a bar back, zero experience behind a bar. Started off as a bar back, and after about a week and a half or so, the bartender that I worked my primary shifts with basically started telling me like, "Hey, you're a hustler, you're a hard worker. I like your work ethic so far. Are you trying to get into bartending?" And I told him, "Yeah." So he said, "Okay, I'm gonna start teaching you drinks then. So basically, he's like, "Okay, today we're gonna learn the margarita," and then I made every single margarita that was rung in that day until I got comfortable and familiar with the margarita. Then the next shift, he's like, "Okay, make me a margarita. Make sure you didn't forget." Then I'd make a margarita. Then he's like, "Okay, cool. You got the margarita down. Now today you're gonna make every Manhattan or every mojito or whatever Moscow Mule, Sex on the Beach, whatever drink came in, and he would tell me, today you're gonna make every single one that way, and that's how I was taught how to bartend. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't do none of that stuff. Hey Prep, how's it going, buddy? So yeah, that's how I was taught basic bartending skills. Is just one drink at a time, and working with bartenders that I kind of proved myself with, and then they started teaching me bartending skills. So yeah, prep today, nothing fancy. I just have a peach whiskey and sour, sweet and sour mix. So, um, it's actually pretty smooth with peach whiskey, I gotta say. I used this one right here. I think I showed it on the last stream, but peach flavored whiskey, and then I just added the sweet and sour mix. So um, yeah, I saved a little bit more just in case I wanted to make myself one more with a little bit of the mix. But yeah, this will probably be my only one of this one. I kind of thought about it last minute. I have everything for a Moscow Mule too, but um, I guess I can technically make it after this one. But yeah, um, so yeah, basically that's how I was taught how to bartend is just on the job training, and proving myself to bartenders. Then bartenders wanted to train me, and that's how I was taught. So anyway, I did get most of my experience in Las Vegas, and um, it's a great city to learn because if you get into a casino, I mean, there's so much volume. It's so fast paced and high volume. You can really learn and make good money out there. Um, I worked at the casino bar. So at the casino bar, I have people that can come and sit at my bar top and drink and gamble and order from me. On top of that, the other side you can order food from, and they're ordering drinks as well. Plus, if you're at a casino bar, the cocktail servers are coming up getting drinks from you for all the people that are gambling out on the casino floor. So they'll ring in a cocktail order. Cocktail server will ring in an order. It might say 12 vodkas, 8 whiskeys, 3 gins, 4 tequilas. You're like, okay, what are your vodkas? Okay, I have 3 vodka sodas, 2 vodka cranberries, 2 vodka Red Bulls, and 2 vodka tonics. And you're making those. Like, okay, what are your tequilas? 3 tequila shots, 1 margarita. Okay, what are your gins? 3 gin and tonics. Um, so you're making drinks very fast paced. So it's a fun place to work. On top of that, it's Vegas. It's a 24-hour city. People go there to get drunk and get wasted and act fools of themselves sometimes. I mean, what let's be real, that's what happens out there. So I have some crazy stories that happened to me in Las Vegas. So that's what I was kind of going to do with today's stream. Just go over some of the craziest experiences that happened while I was out there that I got to see. So I'll do 4 crazy things that happened. There's probably a few more I can do, but I try to choose the top four that were the top four in my opinion, are kind of over the edge or crazy, and then I'll kind of do one crazy thing that kind of happened to me personally while I was out there. So I'll get started with that in a couple minutes. Just drinking a local wheat beer called Side Launch. Nice, that's awesome. I always love drinking local beers. Trying different things. And on a side note, I am gonna start a Rumble account. I don't know if Rumble is popular in other parts of the world. I know here in the US, it was actually number one on app downloads for the first time in the history of the Rumble app. So I know it's a direct competitor to YouTube. There's no way it even compares to YouTube. I know that it's not going to happen, at least right now. But I am going to start a Rumble account because if it's number one in the charts right now, it could start gaining in popularity. And I'd rather start kind of having an account there. So if it does get more and more downloads, at least I kind of have a channel already there. So I will be starting an account. I'm not monetized or anything on that one yet, so I would just be kind of putting all my uploads on there and just kind of hopefully letting it build up. So YouTube will still be my primary, you know, um, my primary streaming thing, but I will be doing on Rumble as well, just to try to help it build up and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of other streamers that do Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Lives all at the same time. I'm not sure I really want to do that. I think that would just be spreading myself too thin. But and I have no idea about Twitch. Twitch is crazy. Like Twitch is in its own little world. Don't get me wrong. I've seen people do really really well on there. People are really successful on Twitch. It's just the verbiage, the vocabulary that they use, everything is just way different. Um, if I did more lives, then it'd probably be better for me. But since my channel as of now is still more video based, I think I don't know how well I would do on Twitch, but I don't know. I could start an account. I don't know, but again, it's gonna be YouTube is still gonna be my primary bread and butter until I build up a Twitch or a Rumble, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, so I'll get into my first crazy Vegas story, bartending in Las Vegas. One of my crazy stories, right? So my very first job, I moved to Las Vegas. I had actually moved over there for nursing school. unfortunately, the school really screwed up my veteran benefits, my VA benefits, and they basically overcharged the VA like crazy. So the VA was like looking at me saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Talk to the school." The school's like, "We didn't do anything wrong. Go talk to the VA." So they blamed each other for several months, and I had to drop out of nursing school after the semester ended. So it kind of left me in Las Vegas with nothing really to do, you know? So I asked people around, and like, hey, look, you're in the hospitality city of the world. You're in Vegas. You're in Sin City. If you want to make money out here, get a job where you're in tips, you know? So I thought about blackjack dealing, roulette dealing, you know. Someone even mentioned like being a valet driver, you know, because they get tipped for parking cars. And I just thought about it, I go, you know what? I mean, bartending just seems like it's kind of everywhere, and it's, you know, probably the more basic approach. So I got into a job as a barback with zero experience. I went to a uh, hiring event, and I got hired with no experience at a timeshare resort in Las Vegas. It's a really nice resort just south of the Las Vegas Strip. It has, I think, the second largest lazy river pool in all of Las Vegas. It has a really nice pool with like sand and everything. It's a really nice resort. It's huge. I got hired there with no experience, right? After a couple of weeks, one of our bartenders got snowed in when she went home on vacation, so she couldn't get on a flight to come back home. So they asked me, "Hey, I know you're new, but you know we need you to pick up her shifts to close tonight and the next couple of nights." So I got thrown into bartending with only like 2 weeks of bar back experience, not even really bartending. Anyway, it was like my third or fourth shift of bartending, so I was still very new at bartending. I had a guy that came in. Keep in mind, this is at a family resort. Family resort. And I had a guy that came in. He was having quite a few beers, shots in between that. He wasn't acting drunk or anything, or else I would have cut him off. But yeah, he was in there. He was sitting at the bar top, and you know, he would just order a shot and then say, "Okay, let me get a beer now, a draft beer." Then you know, he'd finish that beer, have another shot, then another beer, and he was taking his time with the beer, so there was no alarm on why I would have to cut him off or anything, right? Like I said, he was acting normal. He was pacing himself with the beers, just a shot in between. That's actually fairly normal. So anyway, at the end of the kind of towards closing, towards last call, he comes and tells me, "All right, I'm just gonna close out. You know, can I take one back to my room?" Well, yeah, this is Vegas. You can take a beer anywhere with you. You know, you just can't take the glass though. So I poured it into a plastic cup for him, and then he closes out. And when he closes out, he goes, "All right, so I have a question for you. Do you want a cash tip or do you want something better?" And I go, "Okay, well, what's better than cash? You know?" And then he goes, "Well, do you party?" And I didn't exactly know what he meant, but I kind of had an idea. I thought I knew what he was trying to say, and I said no, you know. And he goes, "You sure?" I go, "Yeah." And he pulls out a bag, a small plastic bag from his pocket, and there's a certain drug on there. I'm not gonna say the name of it because YouTube doesn't like that. Let's just say it was white and it was powdery. And he pulls it out of his pocket. I go, "Oh no, yeah, I don't do that, buddy. Sorry, not judging you, but I don't do that, you know." I go, "Plus, we're in a timeshare resort. You shouldn't even have that here. We're in a family resort. Like, don't pull that out. Don't bring that out." And he goes, "You sure?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "If you want the cash, I'll leave you both. You did serve me pretty well." And I go, "No, I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with that. You know, just no, not gonna happen." So yeah, he took off. Um, Apparently, he ended up going to the lobby, and there's a restroom inside the lobby, like where you check in and all that. Apparently, he went in there and he did some illegal activities in there. So security was actually looking for him after that. So, hey, Kane, how's it going, buddy? Um, Hey, like I said, no judging. I don't judge anything. It's just not personally for me. You know what I mean? And on top of that, even if it was, it's not like I do it at my job site. You know what I mean? And at a family resort on top of that. But yeah, like I said, no judgment, no judgment. I wasn't like bad mouthing anyone that does it or anything. It caught me so off guard. You know, um, I was kind of petrified of being so new to to bartending and all that stuff. And then I'm at work, and that happened. So like I said, no judgment. It's just personally, it wasn't gonna happen. Glad you just said no. Yeah, like I said, man, it just there's so many different things that came in. Number one is I'm at work. Number two is it's Vegas. There's literally gambling machines at the bar top, the video poker machines. So there's cameras that face down on them because you got to keep in mind that in Vegas people try to cheat, people try to lie and say, "Oh, I put $100 bill in the machine and the machine ate it." So there's always cameras facing on all the machines because they need to try to prove customers wrong when they try to lie about stuff like that. So it's like it wasn't gonna happen. Number one, like I said, I don't personally do any of that stuff. Number two is I'm at work. Number three, it's a timeshare resort. Number four, there's cameras everywhere. It wasn't gonna happen. So all right. So yeah, I don't do that stuff, but as you guys know, I do drink. So yeah, that was one of the crazier things that I had happened at the timeshare resort. Um, I had some crazy customers there occasionally. I have another story if I have time towards the end. I can tell you this one about a couple that was arguing. It was a guy and girl that were arguing. Um, and yeah, she ended up leaving an insane tip. But yeah, I'll go over that one later if there's time. Um, Okay, so after that, I pretty much went to work at a casino, right? At a small casino that is just off the strip. Literally, like if you cross the street, cross Tropicana Avenue from MGM Grand, you'll literally hit this casino. I used to work there for about a year, and yeah, so that was a crazy that was a crazy experience. It was a good experience. I moved up quickly. I actually got hired on as a barback, but they started giving me bartending shifts if a bartender would call off and stuff like that. So anyway, I was there one time. I was at the very front bar. So when you walk in through the main doors, there's a bar just to the left right away. I was at that bar. So you get a lot of traffic. People walk in, they want to drink, and then they'll go hit the casino and all that, right? So um, actually, there's three of them at the very beginning. It was two guys and one female, and they get a shot of Jameson. I believe it was Jameson. And then the female was like, "Okay, I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'm gonna be walking around or whatever." So the guys stay there. They get a beer. So I get a card, to start a tab for them. And then right when after I served them the beer, one of our kegs blew out. So we had draft beer there, and the bartender was pouring a beer, and the keg blew out. So she told me, "Hey, I need this keg switched out." So I had to go get like a little wagon, like a cart thing. And then I have to go to kind of halfway across the casino to pick up a brand new keg. Have to bring it back to the bar, switch them out, and then drag the old one back to where we recycle the old kegs. Anyway, when I'm coming back around the corner with the new keg, the bartender told me, she's like, "Hey, these two guys over here, are they okay when you served them?" I go, "Yeah, they got a shot, then they got a beer. They were perfectly fine though. I wouldn't have served them if they were okay. I mean, if they weren't okay." She goes, "Okay." I go, "Why did something happen?" She goes, "Well, they kind of got up, kind of shouted a little bit at each other, and then they kind of hugged it out, and they were okay again. Now they're back to drinking, and they're okay again." I go, "Okay." She goes, "I'm just gonna keep an eye on them, but for right now, they're okay." So I served them another beer because they're okay right now. I go, "Okay." So then I go, like I said, I finished switching out the keg, took the other one back, came back probably like 5 minutes later, and the whole crowd that was sitting at the bar is all standing about 5, 6 feet away from the bar. So the bar top doesn't have anyone on it. When I come closer, I see someone on the ground, and everyone's like staring at this guy on the ground. Apparently, these two buddies ended up fighting again, arguing again, and then one guy punched the other guy while he was still sitting down on the bar stool, punched him right in the nose, and then there was just blood everywhere. So um, that happened while I was gone. So I got to see it, and the guy's just still, he just literally fell back, still lying on his chair, but he was on the ground, and just blood gushing out everywhere. Um, yeah. So then basically security comes out. Security's like, "What happened?" Like, "All right, you guys are both being detained, right? Until Las Vegas Police Department, Las Vegas Metro is on their way." So yeah, basically when they told him, "Hey, Metro's on the way, you have to wait," the guy that hit the other guy, he tried to walk out. So security had to say, "Hey, wait, you can't go anywhere, buddy. You have to wait. Security's on their way." Then he starts fighting security. So security has to tackle him to the ground and handcuff him behind his back until the cops got there. So that was kind of a crazy one. The other guy had to be taken away. I don't think on an ambulance, but he did have to be taken away by EMTs. So I think he might have broken his nose. I don't think they would have taken him if it wasn't a broken nose. But yeah, imagine that. Two buddies sitting at a bar, argue, hug it out, say we're okay, argue again, get into a fight, and one gets arrested, the other one goes to the hospital. It's crazy. I'm telling you, Vegas has just weird stuff that happens. Eye in the sky. Yeah, 100%. Anytime you're in Vegas, you're always being watched. Always, I promise you. You're in a casino, I promise you there's cameras facing you. Especially if you're sitting at a table, there's cameras that can zoom in and they can probably see if you have something like engraved on a wedding band, they can probably read that because they want to see. If you try saying, "Hey, I had 20 and the blackjack dealer had 19, but she said she won and took my money anyway," they're going to zoom in and they're going to double check the numbers and they're going to tell you like, "Hey, you were wrong," or "Hey, you were right." So they have some really good cameras that can zoom in like crazy. What if people want drinks you don't know how to make? So that's an interesting one. You never tell them you can't make it because people are going to get pissed off. They're going to want to go to another bartender. They're just never going to return to you again because they think you're not a good bartender. Um, it depends. If you're at a place where you can kind of run back, like at my other job, my hotel job, I have the luxury of running back to the kitchen, right? So if someone asks me for a drink that I have to kind of double check or look up, I'll say, you know what, I'm pretty sure I can make that. Let me make sure I have everything for it. And then I'll run around and Google it when I'm in the kitchen. So, and then once you know, you're like, okay, yeah, I have all that stuff, I can make it. But if you're at a place like my nightclub, at my nightclub, there's really no way to hide from the customer because you're in a bar and they're right there in front of you watching you do everything. So unfortunately, there you can't really hide. So um, I have it in my car. I leave it in my car, but I do actually wear like like the football players that wear like a little band right here that they open up for all their plays. I actually wear one of those at the nightclub. I would say I know about 90% of the drinks on there, but once in a while there'll be something that'll kind of, you know, um, gosh, I had one on Saturday. It's Jägermeister and Rumpelmints. So uh like a mint liqueur and then Jaeger and what's it called? I can't remember, but yeah, someone ordered it and I had to double check it because I've only made like one or two ever in like 5 or 6 years of doing this, you know? But yeah, I always try, I never tell them I can't make it if I don't have to. Um, at the nightclub, sometimes I'll kind of get away with like turning around and saying, okay, yeah, I got you, I can make it. And then I'm pretending like I'm scooping ice into a cup from my ice well. And I'll say like, hey Siri, how do you make this, you know? And I'll kind of ask my Apple Watch. But yeah, I never tell the customer if you can afford it because, like I said, there's most of them will not come back. They won't return to you, or they'll just go to another bartender in general. It doesn't happen very often to me anymore. I gotta say, I feel like I'm pretty on top of these new drinks. You know, someone ordered a Seven Seas on Saturday. That was one that kind of stumped me. Some grown ass dude was ordering strawberry shortcut cocktails on Saturday. So Saturday was just a weird day, but I'd have to say before then it was probably weeks, if not longer, that I haven't had to look up a single cocktail. You know. Um, then you have like Saturday. I had two girls. One of them was celebrating a birthday party, and they were drinking nothing but shots. They were by far my favorite customers all night because they would come up and say, "Hey," they introduce themselves, say, "I'm celebrating my birthday. We want shots." And I was like, "Okay, what do you want?" She's like, "You pick." Okay. So their very first one, I gave them a BJ shot, which is Bailey's, Kahlua, and Amaretto topped with whipped cream. Technically, it's supposed to be taken hands free, hence the name BJ shot. But they weren't, they didn't want to do that, so they just drank it like a normal shot. But yeah, they were great. They came back like 10 minutes later, was like another shot, you pick. So I made them another shot, and they kept coming back every few minutes. And I think I must have made them about 9 or 10 shots. And it was great because they let me pick every single time. And it was cool. I love being creative. I love that they give me that opportunity. But yeah, if you can afford not to tell a customer you don't know how to make something, yeah, don't tell them. All right. Here's an interesting one. Sometimes if you're in Vegas, you end up having to work graveyard shifts, right? It's a 24-hour city over there. Graveyard means you work like midnight to 8 a.m. or 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. Different hours, but it's those general schedules like that, right? Um, you're a guy, so they kind of want someone that can kind of handle themselves a little bit more. So I would say it's females work it as well, but there are some establishments that will only pick guys to work that shift just because they know that if someone's too intoxicated, they want to mess with someone, they want a guy that can kind of, put up with them or something. I don't know. Anyway, I was working midnight to 8 a.m. I was working at the same casino I just told my last story about, but I was working at a different bar. This bar was kind of, You walk through the casino in the very back right corner, right by the elevators to go up to the hotel rooms. There's another bar. This one's a lot dimmer lit. There's not as much lighting. There's louder music, so it's kind of separate from the casino side, and it's darker, and it's right by the elevators. So you get a lot of working girls. I'll leave it at that. Girls that are working that are there. And I didn't like it, but the casino would kind of say, hey, if they're not really doing anything wrong, we're not really going to kick them out until they kind of do something wrong. So a lot of them would hang out there just because you get to see people going up to their rooms. People stop by and get a drink and then go to the rooms. It's an easy way for them to kind of chit chat and try to start something and then go up to the room with someone, right? So unfortunately, this is what it is, but you would get a lot of girls that would go and sit there and they're working. So anyway, I'm bartending that night. There's no bar back. It was just me. I'm bartending, and there's two guys that were gambling and they were drinking quite a bit. One of them, I believe, had a tab open at one point. I can't remember. Anyway, two girls come up. They're clearly working. You can tell by the way they're dressed. You can tell by the way they're just approaching guys on their own. Obviously, they're working, but they go up to these two guys. They start talking to them. They start talking to them. They even kind of split up to different parts of the bar, right? And they're just working them. They're just working them, kind of talking to them. After about 15, 20 minutes, and I think they had a couple of drinks in between with the women, all of a sudden they disappear. They go up to their room, and I didn't see them for a good hour or so. Um, then one of the guys comes back, and he's just like, I need a shot ASAP. Give me a shot, whatever. I don't care what it is. Just give me a damn shot." And I give him a shot. He pays with cash, right? And then the other guy joins him a few minutes later. They start arguing. They start blaming it on each other. Apparently, what happened is they went up with these girls. I guess they had separate rooms, and both women robbed both guys. I don't know the whole story. I don't know how it went down, but somehow both of them got robbed. So these girls were clearly planning it. They had a plan in mind the whole time. They got robbed, and apparently they got robbed for thousands of dollars. I'm, I guess one of them had like a Ziploc bag or something where they had his passport. He had all his cash for his entire vacation, and he had like important documents or whatever in there, right? I guess she took every dollar that was in there. um, he's lucky she didn't take the passport either. I mean, if she was really bad, she could have taken the passport, but she took every dollar that was in there. And from what I overheard, it was like thousands of dollars. And then the other guy got robbed for whatever cash he had. His watch, I guess, was like a gold watch or something. Um, yeah, and they got robbed for everything. So anyway, they start yelling at each other. Then the other guy's like, I don't even have money now. I don't have money. So the other guy's like, well, I have some money left over, and I have my card I can use. I just wasn't going to use my card. So anyway, they paid with their card, and then they start kind of yelling at me, saying that I let it happen. I'm like, hey, look, you guys did this on your own thing. Like, I had nothing to do with this. I had a full bar. I was busy. You guys did this. This was on you guys. Don't be starting your drama and throwing things at me, Like, you know what? Go call your manager. I want to talk to your manager. Go get a manager. So I go, do you realize what you're asking me to do? You guys broke the law. You guys acted in something that's not legal here. And you're telling me you want to talk to a manager about it. You sure you want me to call a manager? Like, yeah, get your manager over here right now. Okay. So I got the phone, called security, told security what happened. So security basically comes up and tells them the same thing. You guys realize that, you guys screwed up. You guys technically broke the law, right? You're like, no, 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 no. Get the police over here. We were robbed and we want to report it to the police. Like, okay, we'll get the cops. We'll call the police for you, no problem. But just realize that they're going to talk to you and say, how did you know these girls? What exactly happened with these girls? And you're kind of going to agree that you kind of broke the law. But we'll call the cops, no problem. So I don't know. They ended up going with security, and I don't think the cops are called because I never saw police come. But they were pretty much wanting to talk to the police. I'm like, you guys are idiots. Like, I understand you guys are pissed. I would be pissed off too, and that it's a lot of money that they got robbed. A lot of money, But you guys are pretty stupid too, and you guys did technically break the law. So you really, their own fault. Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying I don't feel bad for them. I felt terrible for them. They're from the UK, so they come on vacation from the UK, They were probably in their early 50s or so, early to mid 50s. So here they are on vacation and they get got pretty bad, and they lose thousands of dollars. So I'm not saying I didn't feel bad for them, but it's like, come on, man, you got to be smarter than that, And on top of that, you're gonna come and say call the police, like, you know, what's gonna happen when that happens? Good stories. Some graveyard shifts are best for Halloween. I worked at a castle during high school. Nice. Yeah, you do get some crazy stories. You do get some good stories during graveyard. Unfortunately, at the same time, you do have to deal with more crap too. Like, um, yeah, like this last story happened on graveyard. I can't tell you how many times people would come in, stumbling through my doors, at 3 in the morning because the nightclub across the street at MGM just closed down, and they want to continue the party going, but they're obviously intoxicated and I can't serve them anymore. Um, I had a young guy come in. I would say mid 20s or so, and he was visiting from Mexico, and he was clearly a little tipsy. I was a bar back that day. I wasn't bartending, so I asked the bartender. I was like, "Hey, he's kind of borderline. Do you want to serve him? Do you want to not serve him?" And she's like, "Yeah, we'll serve him one and see how he does." Okay, so yeah, she served him a beer, and he starts talking to one of the cocktail servers. Right, she's a model cocktail server. This girl was beautiful. I loved this girl. She was gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And she's coming to our bar to get her drinks for the casino floor. So she might be at the bar top for 5 minutes while we're making her drinks, pouring her beers, and then she'll walk off, deliver the drinks, come back with a new order, and repeat pretty much. So anyway, she comes up, and this was on graveyard too. This is probably about 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, probably about 5 in the morning when he got there. And he sits right at the very last chair, right where the cocktail server's coming up and ordering drinks, and he's talking to her and talking to her, talking to her. And I kept asking, like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, he's harmless. He's harmless. He's just talking." And he just sipped on that beer for like 3 hours just talking to her. And then she would disappear and he'd go right back on his phone. And then she'd come back and his eyes and attention were all 100% on her. Anyway, it was time for her to go home. At about 7:30, she kind of, had to go back of house to clock off and go home. And she cut through a restaurant that was closed to go home, right? And he tried following her to the back of house area where it's employees only. So me and the bartender just looked at her, like looked at each other, and we're like, "Is he really trying to go back there?" And I was like, "I'm gonna run back there and catch him." She's like, "Yeah, you need to, because she's probably the only one back there right now. That's not safe." So I caught him right when he was trying to go through like a double door that would have been officially the back of house, but he was already inside the closed restaurant. So I caught him. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And he's pointing back there like I'm following her. I was like, "No, you're not. You need to get over here. This thing's closed right now. You can't go back there." And he's like, "What about her?" And no, she's gone. And then he's like, "But I want to talk to her." So I just lied to him. I was like, "Okay, she's gonna be right back. She's gonna be right back." And I made him go back to the front of house. And I had to catch the server before she walked outside because he was looking everywhere for her, and I didn't want her going outside. So basically, I told her like, "Hey, let me get security. Security will walk you to your car." And he's like, and she said, "No, I don't want that. I don't want that attention or whatever." So I ended up telling her, "Well, at least wait for me, and I'll walk you to your car when I clock off in a few minutes." So I ended up walking to her car, and yeah, I saw him look out the front door area one time to look for her, and I immediately called security. But I don't know if he was just really drunk. I don't know if he was a stalker, but that's graveyard. That's another graveyard story. And I don't know. Maybe he was just a really nice guy. He was just really drunk. I have no idea. But yeah, you have some crazy stuff that happened on graveyard. Um, Oh, okay. This happened at the same casino. Like I said, the second story where you walk right into the casino, the bar right on the left side, right there. Um, that's a casino bar, right? It's right by all the slot machines. There's video poker right at the bar. There was a couple. They were a younger couple, I would say mid 20s to late 20s or so, and they were gambling on the video poker machine, and they hit for $1,800, I believe. It was like 18 or $1,900, and that's a hand pay. Anytime it's over $1,200 in Las Vegas, it's called a taxable, which means that a slot attendant has to come and hand pay you out, and they get your social, and you have to pay taxes on it. So it's reported to the IRS and all that. So anyway, they went. It was either 18 or $1,900, right? So they literally sat there for like another 2 hours, put most of the money right back into the machine, and then when they were walking off, I was like, they were drinking a few drinks, so I told him, I was like, "Are you still up? Please tell me you're still up. Please tell me you didn't put it back into the machine." He's like, "Oh, I have a little bit left." I go, "Crap, okay." And from the pile, it looked like they only had maybe $100 to $300 left or so. So they lost most of it. They probably lost about 1700 ish or so. Um, so then they move and they go to, like right behind them, there was a slot machine, a big Buffalo slot machine. So they go right from the video poker machine at the bar top to a Buffalo machine that's probably like from where I'm at to where it's the opposite. Where's that lamp right there? Yeah, it's like right there, so I can clearly see where they're at. They're still behind me, just a few feet away. And they go to that Buffalo machine. They put in 100, lose it. Put in another 100, lose it. All of a sudden, that machine got really hot, and they started hitting for like $300. Right? They were max betting, max betting, max betting. It hits for like $300. Like, okay, they made some money back, but they kept gambling. You know, all of a sudden they hit for like another 500. Then they keep gambling. Then they hit for like another 600. So it wasn't in my clear view from behind the bar, but the cocktail server was kind of coming back and saying like, "Oh yeah, they're up to like $1,300," and I was like, "Wow, okay, cool." Um, anyway, long story short, they were there for like an hour. They lost all their money on that machine too. They literally lost it all. So that was terrible. So altogether, they lost about 1,800 to $1,900 on the video poker machine, and then they lost about 12 or $1,300 on the Big Buffalo machine. Now that wasn't a taxable because they didn't win all that on one spin, right? They won like $300 and $600 and $500. So that wasn't a taxable, so they didn't have to cash out. They were just gambling, gambling the entire time. But that was terrible. That was really terrible what happened. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys have to know when to walk away. All right, my final story. This isn't necessarily a bartending story. This is just something that happened to me. Um, so I was brand new to Las Vegas, right? I'd only been living there maybe a month and a half, 2 months or so, and basically we were out. It was me and my old roommate. I had my own little condo when I first moved out there. Then I ended up, becoming really cool friends with someone out there, and then we ended up getting a two-bedroom apartment together. So I got a roommate out there, right? So it was one of those days where we were just apartment hunting, going to check out different apartments. Then at the end of the night, we were kind of like driving around right by my condo area. I mean, my first apartment that I was giving up, and we were looking for somewhere to eat dinner because it was probably about 8:30 p.m., 9 p.m., and we hadn't eaten dinner. So we were driving around my old condo area, and nothing really sounded good. And then he's like, "You know what? I'm kind of getting tired. Let's just pick something." Like, okay. So there was a bar that was literally like I don't even know, 5 minute walk from my condo. So like a 2 minute drive, if that. And it was like one street light over. Um, so we ended up going there because they had a kitchen. So you know what? That's cool. We'll just go there to the kitchen, order some food, have a beer, drink at the bar, and then we'll call it a night. Like, okay. So we did that. We went to the bar, and I had been there a few times already. Like I said, it was super close to my old apartment, so it was convenient. So we go and order food, have I think one or two drinks, and then my roommate was like, "All right, I gotta work really early in the morning tomorrow, so I'm done. What are you gonna do?" And I told him, I was like, he was driving too, so I go, you know what? I'm gonna stick around. I don't work tomorrow, so I'm gonna stick around here and probably have another drink or so. He was okay. So I moved to the bar top since I was by myself, right? I moved to the bar top and I ended up gambling. So I sat on a machine. It was the corner machine. I put $20 in there, and I ended up playing a slot machine. With my first $20 in there, like within my first couple of spins, I won like $130, $120, something like that. Like, okay, so I cashed that out, right? And then I put another 20 back into the machine. So I had the $100 I profited. I put 20 back into the machine. Within like $5 of gambling, I hit for like another hundred and something dollars. Wow, cool. This machine's doing well for me, right? So I cashed out, put another 20 back in there, and this time I hit for like another 70 or $80 or something, whatever it was, right? So by this time, I was low on my beer, and they were drinks, they're comped, right? It was a free drink because I was gambling. So Anyway, by that time I cashed out the third time, and he asked me, "Are you gonna keep gambling?" I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep gambling." He goes, "Okay, your beer's empty. Do you want another beer?" I go, "Yeah, actually, I'll take another beer. I'll be right." And I told him, "I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the restroom, but I'm gonna keep gambling." He goes, "Okay, no problem. I'll have your beer here for you." And like I said, I was on the corner machine, so from here to maybe 6, 7 feet away, the bathroom was just right there. It was really close by. So while he was pouring my beer, I went to the restroom real quick, and I was back like 30 seconds later, maybe a minute later. Just say 1 minute later, right? When I get there, my beer is waiting for me at the top of the bar towards the bartender side, and someone had already taken my machine. And I remember coming out like, well, what the heck, you know? And I remember the guy told me, well, the bartender told me no one was sitting here. Don't worry, I didn't touch your beer or anything. And I should have known something was really suspicious there, you know? Um, but I took my beer anyway and started drinking it. And then I kind of asked to speak to a manager because I go, hey, I was gambling on that machine, you know? And the manager told me, I understand what you're saying, but technically you didn't have money in the machine actively. So you weren't technically gambling. So he did have the right to take that machine. Was it a knucklehead move? Was it a jerk move? Yeah, because your beer was right there. But technically, legally, there's really nothing I can do about it. Anyway, so he apologized to me. He told me, like, hey, look, if you want another drink, it's on me. But yeah, technically, he didn't do anything wrong per se. Um, so yeah, anyway, long story short, I ended up drinking my beer and I didn't even get all the way through it. I must have gone about halfway through it and I just started like kind of sweating a little bit and I started feeling basically really drunk. And I want to say that was only, I want to say when my roommate was there, I had two cocktails, I think. And then that was my second beer. And it was probably like this size of glass. So it wasn't a giant glass, you know? So I know I shouldn't have been drunk with that amount. So anyway, long story short, I'm pretty sure I was drugged that day. I'm pretty sure someone threw something in that beer, and I was drugged that day. Um, you know, I went back and talked to the bartender the next day, or no, no, I'm sorry, not the next day, like the next week, and he told me, yeah, those the because it was like three guys total. You know, only one of them was gambling, the other two were just hanging out, and he told me like, yeah, they were really fishy, like something was just off with them, you know. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to drug you. They saw you winning money on this machine. They didn't know how much I paid you out. Did they know it was $100? Did they think it was $1,000? You know, if they're watching from across the bar, they don't know how much it was. They just saw that I hand paid you out like 3 times, you know. So they probably wanted to probably try to rob you for money, you know. But they're like, you're a bigger guy. It probably took longer to hit you than they expected. So they probably, you know, they left you alone after all. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I was drugged that day because, like I said, I ended up leaving, not finishing the beer. I ended up trying to walk home, and I got lost, even though it was one street light over, and it was very very close by, and I'd done that walk a lot of times already. I somehow got lost going home. Then I remember calling an Uber and saying like, I'm requesting an Uber. You guys can take me home, right? The Uber called me and said I can't find you. I'm gonna have to cancel the ride. So that happened. I remember going into like an AM PM, but I don't remember what I bought. I don't even remember buying anything. I don't remember what I went in there for. So something was really wrong that night. So I'm pretty sure that they were trying to rob me for the cash, and that's what happened. So if you're ever in Vegas and you win money, don't ever leave your drink unaccounted for. Have the bartender watch it if you're by yourself. Take it with you, or just wait until you get back to get a fresh drink. But just always be careful with your surroundings, and just don't leave your drink alone, especially around some sketchy people. So yeah, those are some of my crazy Vegas stories. There's a million I can go over. There's literally so many I can talk about, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of an interesting topic. Crazy stuff does happen over there, and that's not just in Vegas. By the way, you have crazy stories everywhere. I had some creeper at my bar on Saturday. He ended up getting kicked out. So unfortunately, um, yeah, you get crazy people all over the place. Good advice. Yeah, but unfortunately, there's some crazy people out there, and I mean, it doesn't always have to be just women that it happens to. I mean, especially in Vegas, when people see you win money, they can try to follow you to your car. Especially like I was walking home that day, you don't know what could have happened. They can see you that you won money. They might try to do something stupid. So Yeah, and even when there's no money involved, it's always good just to be safe rather than sorry. Um, so anyway, the good news that happened today, I got pre-approved for a home loan. Um, I got pre-approved for a home loan, not for California because California is extremely expensive, but for Texas. So it's just a pre-approval. There's still a lot of work to do. Basically, from here, I would have to find a home, work with a real estate agent, you know, put an offer on the home, get accepted. Then the bank would have to finalize it, which means that they're going to dig deeper into my banking statements, into my accounts, see how much money I have saved up. Um, they're going to look deeper into my credit, all that craps. And then on top of that, I'd have to get employment over there for the bank to say, okay, cool. Now we know you're going to have employment in your new state. So now we can approve the loan. So this is just the first step in many steps to go, but it's a good first step. At least I know that I can start looking for a condo or a house if I really wanted to. But it would be in another state. So I'd have to move. I'd have to find a new job, all that stuff. But we'll see what happens. But it's a nice first step. I have a few crazy tales from Thailand. Oh, I bet you do. I really bet you do. Um, I don't know if I have like crazy, crazy stories from Thailand. I didn't say anything too crazy. Um, but I also went during the sandbox program, so most businesses were still closed. Nightlife was still pretty much shut down. So I didn't get to see people drinking and acting a fool at their fullest potential. So yeah, I'm sure if I went back, like next year, I really want to go back. Um, I'd probably see a lot of crazy stuff again. That's kind of where I'm at with that. If I do get pre-approved, well, I already got pre-approved, but if I do kind of continue forward with this and I'm able to buy a condo, I probably won't be traveling for a while. I do have my Philippines trip booked for next year. That one, the flight's already paid for. I can always change it to somewhere else too, but um, that one I have to take. But if this house goes through and I'm able to get approved and move to my own place and everything, then I won't be traveling other than that trip. But if something goes wrong and it doesn't happen, I honestly might be looking into getting a long term visa and going to Thailand for like 6 months next year. But again, that just depends on what happens here. So I'll know more in the future. But yeah, either try to get my own place and buy my own property, or maybe do like a 6 month trip to Thailand. As of right now, they're still, let me see the name of it. They're still offering the STV. I think it's called the Special Tourist Visa that they were offering during the beer situation. I think you have to apply by the end of September, but I don't know if there's a limit to how far back you can use it. So if I apply next month in September, can I still use it like say March of next year? Or are they like, no, you have to use that STV by like the end of this year or something? So there's some research I have to do on that one. But if I do want to use it, I'd have to use it or I'd have to apply for it by the end of September, which is next month. But STV is cool because it's for 3 months, right? But you can extend it 2 times for an additional 3 months each time. So it's basically a total of 9 months in Thailand, or yeah, Thailand. So if I do want to utilize it, I have to apply by next year. So that's still technically, on the table. Pre-approved. That's cool. Yeah, absolutely. It's still a big step for me. Um, I guess your loan needs to be USA only, right? Yeah, yeah. Usually they do. Um, that is another option that I've always had in the back of my mind too. You can buy a cheap condo in like Pattaya in Thailand, right overlooking the beach and everything for probably about, I don't know, I've seen it for under 30,000 US. And I mean for a little condo that you literally have the beach right at your balcony view and everything. That's amazing. So that's another thing that I've always kept in the back of my mind. Um, but loans aren't really an option for a foreigner. So there are some places I looked on the websites. There are some places that do offer owner financing, and I actually was very close, like this close to actually talking to them. They offered me some places that had owner financing, and I could have done it. It's just I wanted some more research on because I know it's very there's very unique steps where a foreigner can own land in Thailand. You know, you can't own the land itself, and I think it's like 51% of the property has to be owned by Thai nationals, not by foreigners. So I want to do some more research on that, plus like investigate that company. But there was a company I found that gave me the option of putting a down payment down and then doing monthly payments, and I basically would occupy it while I was paying it off. So that was actually kind of cool. But again, I just want to do a little bit more research on it. Um, so yeah, but we'll see what happens with that. I would love to go and do Thailand for a few months, you know, but I would have to have some kind of a remote job where I can make some money. I would love for it to be this YouTube channel, but this YouTube channel is slacking right now. And I have some really cool ideas for Thailand when I do go back. You know, I want to throw some bartending stuff in there. Um, Go around to all the different bars, nightclubs, whatever, and just tell the owner, the manager, hey, who's your best bartender? You know, and let the bartender make some cocktails on video for me. You know, that way I can promote businesses out there. You know, and let's be real, what guy doesn't like to see Thai girls on their YouTube videos they're watching? You know, so I have some ideas. I have some ideas of like playing games with bartenders, like or not bartenders, but just Thai girls in general. You know, like beer pong, flip cup, stuff like that, and even put little prizes, you know, that they can win to kind of help them out too. Because I know tourism isn't 100% for them yet either. You know what I mean? So I have some cool stuff I really want to do, and I think I could do some good stuff. You just have to be careful because there's a lot of haters in Thailand too that hate the YouTubers out there. I think I'll keep my nose clean. I don't do anything stupid with my videos. You know, I don't protrude anyone's privacy. You know, I don't put people on camera that don't want to be on camera. I don't make people look bad on purpose, you know. So it's really not my style. I wouldn't put my name, like my reputation, on the line for like a bad company either. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't purposely make a video bad mouthing someone or some company. You know what I mean? If I don't like them, I just won't film them. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, there's a lot of negativity that comes out of Thailand too. Um, the more and more and more I'm looking into this, the more I'm realizing that you know, even some of the people I met last time in Thailand, I thought they were great people, and they're really not turning out to be who I thought they were. So, sorry, I just got a text message here. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I have some great ideas for this channel. You know, I will be in Vegas in 6 days, so I'll be there on Sunday. So I'm excited for that. I have some cool content. I'll be doing a live stream from the Las Vegas Strip. Hopefully, probably from starting on one end of the strip and then just walk all the way to the other side of the strip. Could take anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half if you're just walking, you know. But if you stop through casinos and you know the sightseeing and all that, it can take even longer. But I think like a good hour to hour and a half live stream, just start at one end and walk to the other end. I think that would be a really cool live stream to give you guys a really nice view of everything that's happening out there. Um, so that one's planned. I could do Fremont again. I think the Fremont's always a fun one. The only thing with Fremont is that they have music blaring, so it will be copyrighted. So I won't be talking. Um, you know, I won't be really talking in it because the music's gonna be so loud usually anyway. But yeah, Fremont's a fun live streaming one too. And actually, one of my buddies that I'm going with really wants to eat at the Heart Attack Grill. So that's actually a cool place if we sit like overseeing everyone that's on the Fremont Street experience, just put my camera and just let it live stream. That would actually be a really cool video. So there's things I can do, but I have ideas. I'll be doing a room tour. It's going to be a suite this time, somewhere I've never stayed at before, so that'll be cool. Apparently, um, there's a bar inside of, or it's called a pub inside of that hotel and casino I'm staying at that has 365 different beers on tap, if I read that correctly. So if it has over 300 beers on tap, that would be really cool. And talk to management and just say, hey, look, I would just love to get my camera and my DJI. Do I have it with me? Where's my camera at? Oh, I had it charging up there. Okay. Yeah, to just get my camera and just literally walk through and just film all the different you know, beers on tap. I think that would be cool. So there's a lot of ideas I have. I'll make it happen. I'm gonna do some cool content out there for sure. Yeah, that'd be cool on the strip. Yeah, absolutely. The strip is always a good time. And the cool thing is, I'm actually going over there on Labor Day weekend, holiday out here. So it's gonna be packed on that Sunday night. that first night I get there, it's gonna be packed. So Monday not so much, but Sunday night, because of the 3 day weekend, because of Monday being a holiday, it's gonna be crowded on Sunday night. So that'll be cool. I actually hope that I'm just walking around for my live stream, and I actually hope that people are seeing the camera and are gonna be interacting and saying hi to the camera and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's some cool content that I'll definitely do up there. Vegas is always a fun time. Like I said, it's kind of my home away from home. So all right, so I'll probably call this stream. I'll probably get ready to end it here shortly. Um, got those stories out. I hope that was kind of cool. Just something different, you know. Aside from money you can make as a bartender, I have to kind of switch it up, you know. But I hope it was interesting at least. Um, yeah, thanks everyone for who popped in here. Thanks everyone who watched the whole stream. Prep for it as usual. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. It means a lot. Yeah. So I will be doing my regular live stream um, later on in the week with talking about how my week went and all that. So I'll be doing my regular live stream later on in the week. Other than that, I need to film a video. I'll do a video, some kind of bartending video, because I don't want to keep my channel going that long without uploading a new video. So I'll come up with something. I'll do a video. Other than that, stay tuned for Vegas live streams, and then some Vegas videos coming up. And yeah, other than that, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. You guys are watching, helping this channel out by watching. Hit the like button for me if you haven't yet. Just thanks again so much. Don't drink and drive. Please drink responsibly. It's a beautiful world out